Hello everyone. Let's study the chapter 12, host defenses. Where the host defenses is a system that the living organism uh, can defend themselves against the invasion of the pathogens, microorganisms. So, uh, so So the defense mechanism includes first, second, and third lines of defenses. So the first line of defense is a physical barrier that can block invasion at the port of entry. Okay, such as the skin. So the mucus of all the uh, organs, such as stomach, GI tract. Okay. So the first line, so this, so the phys- uh, so physical barrier is not considered as the immune system, because immune system actually is more related to the cells uh, and all the antibodies or the polypeptide, so those can defend against the pathogens. So second line of defense is is the system of the cells of fluid. Okay, um, so that includes the inflammation and phagocytosis. So this, however, this line is not also specific, because so first line is not specific. The second line is not either. Okay. Um, so the third line of defense uh, uh, consists of the immune cells such as lymphocytes, and so the specific reaction so that can fight against the pathogens, such as a protective substance like the so like antibodies and the complements. Okay. So a third line can provide long-term immunity. So this is the diagram of first, second, third lines of defense. So for the first lines, so this is the physical barrier, such as physical barrier, microbial barrier, so there's biota barrier, and chemical barrier, such as sweat, okay, sweat and saliva. So second line actually, so the phagos, so the phagocytosis, like phagocytic inflammation, fevers, and all the products, antimicrobial products, all these are not specific. So the line is immune cells like B cells, T cells. So actually we can see this. These three defenses are overlapped together. Okay, so they are not separated because so skin is the first line defense. However, under skin, there we can also find all kinds of cells that can kill the pathogens, such as macrophage. Macrophage actually is the second line, right? So we can also find the TCS, BCS, so those are the third line. Okay. Actually, so that means all these three defenses are linked each other. Okay. to enhance their efficiency for the to protect ourselves. So, since the third line consists of immune cells, so what is the immunology? So immunology is the subject that study all features of the body's second or third line defenses. Okay, because the macrophage actually derived from the monocytes. The monocyte actually can be considered one type of the immune cells. Also, study of the body response to the infectious agent. Okay, and study of allergy and cancer. So the immune system includes the immune organs and immune cells, such cells like T cells, B cells. So the immune system has its functions such as the surveillance of the body. Okay, so they can because they travel through the blood flow and surveillance all the emission of the microorganism and recognize of the foreign material. So what? Yeah. So this actually so this once they found the um, uh, microorganisms, so they can recognize those microorganisms. So all the microorganisms actually are the foreign material for our body. Okay. Once they recognize, so they can do their job to kill those microorganisms. So they can recognize. So they can also recognize the body cells. So it's self. Okay. Because if they can recognize the foreign material, so first of all they have to know so they have no body cells, they have no themselves, right? Then they can differentiate the foreign and themselves, and then differentiate them from the foreign material. Okay, so there's no self. So they also have the ability. To evaluate macromolecule because for example, in the spring season, so many people can get allergy, right? So that's pollen allergy, right? So the pollen could be a macro molecule, okay. However, for many people, so their immune cells actually confuse the pollen with the pollen and the body cells, so that induce the allergy. So this yeah so the immune cells can recognize the macro molecules. So autoimmune disease actually is that the immune system actually confuse the foreign material and the body cells, so they attack the body cells to cause the disease. So how the immune system recognize foreign material and body cells, because so they do this job depend on the antigens on the surface of those cells. Okay. So those antigens could be the protein, okay, or the sugars, or combination of the protein and sugar. So that is called as glycoprotein. Okay. So once they recognize those antigens, so they can recognize those materials are either foreign or themselves, then so if those materials are the foreign materials, so maybe those materials can cause threat to the health, so they can launch their attack. So the molecule that the immune cells to recognize is the pathogen associated molecular patterns. Okay, molecular patterns. So those are the markers that many different kinds of microbes have in common. Okay, yeah, because many microbes have certain markers, so those could be used by the immune system to recognize the microbes. So those could be considered as the pathogen-associated molecular pattern. And the pattern recognition receptor. So this is used by the host cells in the innate immunity of the second line of defense. Recognize the pathogen pattern. So if these are the foreign protein, however, they are not. So they are not. So they don't hurt the living organism. So those proteins could be ignored by the immune system. So the immune system actually, so they are everywhere in our body. Okay, so they just, so they are not, in one specific location. However, they are everywhere. Okay, so they are large, complex, diffuse network of cells, fluid. So they are overlapped together. Okay, and to perform their job. To perform their job efficiently. So this arrangement promotes surveillance and recognition. So can screen our body and eliminate the harmful substance. So the immune system also can communicate with each other, so they can exchange the information that they got, okay, and to let all the immune system in your body can perform efficiently. For example, if we get if we get the flu infection, okay, so in the beginning, so the flu virus only invaded the so the lung bronchi. Okay, however, the immune system in the respiratory system can exchange the flu information to other immune organs and induce our whole body reactions to against the flu infection. So we also have the mononuclear phagocyte system. This is also called MPS. So this is directly contact with tissue cells. Okay. So since those cells actually can, so these cells travel through the blood flow, and once they find the emission of the microorganisms, so they can penetrate the capillaries and into the tissues to reach to the specific infections location and to kill the microbe. lymphatic system. Lymphatic system include lymphatic organ, lymphatic vessel, and the lymphatic cells. Okay. So the lymphatic vessel transport the lymph, okay, through the lymphatic vessel system to the through the lymph nodes, and eventually we are drained back to the circulate. So the drain back to the circulatory system, such as the vein. Okay, drain back to the vein. So this is the lymphatic system. You can see all these are the lymphatic vessel. Okay, here we have the regional so the regional lymph nodes, so they can filter the lymphatic fluid, and then so all the lymphatic fluid is drained back to the veins. Okay. Inferior vena cava. Okay. So the lymphatic system actually, its function is to collection the collect the extracellular fluid. So those fluids may contains the microorganisms, dead cells, cell debris, and some harmful materials. So those lymphatic fluid will be drained to the lymph nodes. So the lymph nodes will filter all these harmful materials, and then so the lymphatic fluid can be drained back to the vena cava. Okay. So lymphatic system can surveillance, recognize, and kill the foreign materials. So lymphatic fluid actually, so that is the interstitial fluid. Okay. For example, the fluid is executed from the capillaries, and however, so the major part of the extracellular fluid we are drain back to the capillaries. However, some portion of the fluid can still exist in the matrix, and then those fluid will be drained by the lymphatic vessels. So the lymphatic vessel also transport fat. Okay, transport fat. So it also consists of the cellular debris, infectious agents. So those will be filtered by the lymph nodes. So the lymphatic vessels is similar to thin wall vein. However, lymphatic vessels have very large so they have very large vascular hole. Okay, that's why they can collect all the fluid and all the harmful particles. So those lymphatic vessels actually are everywhere except certain organs such as bone, placenta, and thymus. Okay. Also the central nervous system. So those organs don't have the lymphatic vessels. So since those vascular wall has many large pores. So those vessels are very permeable. Okay, so they can allow the large size particles get in. So the lymphatic vessels widely exist in the hands, feet, and breast. Okay, that's why if we have certain diseases, so we can get edema in these organs, such as we can get the hands edema, feet edema, also the breast can get edema. So if patient have the breast cancer, so they can get the edema in that area. So lymphatic organs, we have primary organ and secondary organ. So the primary organ is the organ that they make the immune cells, like the red bone marrow, thymus. Okay. Second organ, so this organ that can activate immune cells or make the immune cells mature, or they are the place for the immune cells to stay. Because most immune cells are not released to the bloodstream. Okay, so they just stay the second lymphatic organs. Once we have the infections, so those immune cells will be released to the bloodstream. For example, for the neutrophil. Okay, so if we have the infections, our blood neutrophil can have very high numbers. Okay, that's because most neutrophil are stored in the secondary organs. Okay, once we have infections, so those neutrophil will be released. So the secondary organs would be the lymph nodes, skin, and various lymphoid tissue. Red bone marrow is important. Okay, so this organ that makes the immune cells. So that's an important intersection between the circulatory system, skeletal system, and the lymphatic system. So the red bone marrow actually is in the internal matrix of long bone. Okay. So red bone marrow can make the B cells. Okay, so the immune cells and T cells. Thymus is the organs for the T cells maturation. So thymus is derived in the embryo, okay, as two lobes. However, in adult, so this three lobes. So the naive, so the baby TCRs will get specificity and get mature in the thymus, okay. And then TCRs can move to the lymph nodes and the spleen to stay there. So once we the body need more TCRs, so TCRs can be released. So this is lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are small bean-shaped organs. So we have so those actually the lymph nodes split together to form the regional cluster of lymph nodes, such as axillary, inguinal, cervical. Okay. So if, for example, if we go to, if we have the infections, so we go to the clinic, so the nurse will, or the doctor will check our regional lymph nodes, such as cervical lymph nodes, right? So they will palpate our cervical regions to see if the lymph nodes is enlarged. So if the lymph nodes are enlarged, so that means we have the infections in the region of head or the neck. Okay. So spleen actually is under the stomachs, right? So so it is found in the upper left portion of the abdomen. So it is the filter for the blood instead of lymphs. Okay. Yeah, so that's the difference between the spleen and the lymph nodes. Because spleen filtrate the blood, they can get rid of the aged red blood cells or all the pathogens in the bloodstream. So if the patient doesn't have the spleen, for example, if the patient has certain diseases and remove the spleen, actually, so they can have the normal life. Okay. However, if they were, because they are susceptible for certain infections. Okay, because they have the tendency of compromission. Okay, so that's why for those patients, we have to suggest them to pay attention to this situation. So actually, spleen also is also store for the blood. Okay, so they can store a huge amount of blood. So once the patient has certain disease to lose the blood, such as hemorrhage, so the spleen can release the blood to the bloodstream. Associated lymphoid tissue actually are the lymphoid tissues attached to certain organs, such as in the GI tract, okay, GI tract, or in the skin, okay. Those tissues actually attached to the skin mucosa, okay, and they are the first line of lymphoid tissues to conduct the pathogens. For example, in the GI tract, so they can conduct the pathogen in the food, in the respiratory, so they can conduct the pathogen from air. So if they attach to skin, so that's the skin-associated lymphoid tissue. If they attach to mucosa, so the mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue. Tonsils are the active source of lymphocytes in the pharynx. So yeah. So for the pregnant woman, so if they make milk, so the breast can be a temporary lymphoid organs to produce antibody. So this is the breast. Okay, breast can be temporary of lymphatic organs. So the gut-associated lymphoid tissues such as appendix, lactea, pear patch. Pear patch is a cluster of lymphocytes in the ileum. Okay, so all these are the first line. So are the first line lymphoid tissues that contact the pathogens in the food. Okay. So actually, the function of the gut is that they can conduct the pathogens in the food, okay, and then so they can digest those pathogens and get the information of these pathogens, and then they exchange this information to the deeper lymphatic organs such as the lymph nodes, okay, and transfer this information to the TCS, BCS, and let those TCS, BCS obtain the capacity to fight against those pathogens in the GI tract. So blood contains many defenses cells, such as defenses cells and material. Okay. Now let's talk about the blood cells. So blood cells are made of the red blood cells and white blood cells. And the plasma is the fluid. Okay. Serum actually. So once we get rid of all the coagulation materials, we have the serum. Okay. Hematopoiesis means production of blood cells. So the all the blood cells are made from the stem cells in the bone marrow. So the stem cells can differentiate and can differentiate to all kinds of blood cells. Okay, and proliferate differentiate to all kinds of blood cells. So there can be the red blood cells, platelet, and white blood cells. White blood cells is also called as leukocytes. Leuko means white, okay? So the white blood cells are the granulocytes. That means they have the nucleus, okay? Of the granular cells. So these cells are very important for the immunity. So here we can see so this is granular cells. Granular cells, that means they don't have the cytoplasmic particles. Granular means they have the cytoplasmic particles. Okay, and this is lymphocytes. cells. Cytokines are all kinds of proteins or the polypeptides that are secreted by the lymphocytes. So they can induce the inflammation and immunology reaction. So many cells can secrete cytokines such as monocytes, lymphocytes, and even the platelet can secrete the cytokines. Okay. So cytokines can induce all kinds of reactions, such as local and systemic reaction. For example, we have the interleukin 1, TNF alpha, interleukin 10, okay, serotonin, histamine, so this can induce vasodilation and vasoconstriction. So the mononuclear phagocyte system. So first, let's talk about the reticulum. Reticulum is a network of connected tissues that penetrate the tissues of the body. Okay. So it's like a network to connect all the cells and organs. Okay. So the phagocytic cell imaged in this network and called the mononuclear phagocyte system. Mononuclear phagocyte system found in the thymus, lymph nodes, tonsil, spleen. Okay. Now let's work on this question. Lymphatic fluid contains all of the following except. So I give you 5 seconds. Okay. So the correct answer is C. Okay, red blood cells. Lymphatic fluid doesn't contain red blood cells. So now let's talk about the defense specifically. So first line of defense actually are the physical barrier, okay, physical chemical barrier. For example, the skin, okay, and the so the epithelial membrane of the respiratory tract or the GI tract. So those epithelial cells can also secrete certain chemicals such as saliva, sweat. Okay, so those chemicals are also considered as chemical barrier. So, so the epithelial cells of the skin and the GI tract or respiratory tract can continuously proliferation. So all the cells will be shed off from the skin of the organs. Okay, so the shedding of the old cells can be one defensive mechanism to get rid of the microorganism. Okay, because once the microorganism attached to the epithelial cells, so those cells, once those cells die, they shed off. So those microorganisms also be shed off. Okay. For example, the hair. So our hair is continually grow. Is continuously growing, right? So they can. So when the hair is shed or when we cut the hair, so the hair attached to so the microbe attached to the hair will be shed off. Okay, okay. Follicle cells also can shed off. Okay, so this is called discomatid. Okay, discomat. So discomation can also eliminate the microbe. Also, the sweating. So if we have sweating can remove the bacteria. Okay. So the mucus on the GI tract, respiratory tract, or urinary tract. So those mucus are the physical barrier for the bacteria. Also for the our eyes. Okay, blinking and tear production can also rush off all the bacteria. Saliva. So when we swollen saliva, so the bacteria in the saliva can be swollen into the stomach. Stomach is a very acidic environment, so they can kill the microorganism. Vomiting and defecation can also evacuate the toxins and microorganisms. For the respiratory tract, so the nasal tract, so the so the epithelial cells in the nasal cavities actually has cilia. Okay, so the nasal cavity, so nasal cavity has a hair, so the hair can trap large particles. Also, the respiratory tract, so the respiratory tract can also secrete the mucus fluid to flush all the pathogens. Also, the epithelial cells in the respiratory tract has the cilia. Okay, those cilia can prepare the bacteria to the pharynx. The sneezing can expel the pathogens. Okay. Also, the coughing can expel the foreign material or pathogens in very deep in the deep respiratory tract, such as the bronchi and trachea. So this is respiratory epithelial cells. We can see that those cells have many cilia. Okay, cilia can prepare the bacteria to the pharynx, and then we can swallow those bacteria to stomach. So the genital urinary tract, since we had to pee many times each day, so actually the urine can rush off the bacteria in the urinary tract. Okay. Okay, for the female, so the vagina, okay, the vagina also secrete some can secrete some fluid. Okay, those fluid can clean the reproductive tract in the female. So the beta also can be a defense for human. Okay, because the beta, okay, in the beta that in human can consume the nutrients and eliminate the nutrients for the pathogens. Also, they can generate the local pH environment. So those local pH environment may be difficult for the pathogens to live in. Okay. Scientists has thought that certain diseases such as Crohn's disease or the ulcerative colitis may be due to the damage of the beta environment. Okay. So so the chemical defenses, for example, the skin. Okay, the skin can secrete the oil. Okay, those is the skin sebaceous. Okay, sebaceous. So the sebaceous actually, so that's the skin oil. The skin oil can be digested to induce a very acidic environment on the skin. Okay, so those acidic environment is difficult for nearly most of the bacteria to live with. Okay. Also, our eyes. Okay, our eyes actually can secrete some lubricant. So those lubricant contains some specific enzyme can kill the bacteria. So the lisozyme is the enzyme that can found in the tear and the saliva. Okay, so they can hydrolyze the peptidoglycan. Peptidoglycan is very specific cell wall material in the bacteria. So if this material is hydrolyzed, so bacteria will die. Also, the sweat is very sweat contains lactic acid and high salt concentrated. So this is acidic and hypertonic environments. So many bacteria will be killed in this situation. So the skin is very acidic, and because the skin oil will be digested to release acid. Stomach is very acidic too, okay, because the stomach contains hydrochloric acid. So most bacteria can be killed in stomach, even we eat the contaminated food, okay. So most of the bacteria be killed in the stomach. Or the intestine, so the digestive juice can also kill many bacteria. Bile can also kill the bacteria. So for the semen, so semen also contains antimicrobial chemicals. Vagina can secrete the fluid. The fluid can make a very acidic environment. So those can protect, can maintain the normal beta. Also can kill many bacteria. Even the skin is not a specific defense. However, it is so it has very important role for the human defense. Okay, so if we lose this barrier, so it can cause huge trouble. For example, if some people get burned, okay, so they have a skin burn, so they lose this first line defense. So also, so skin has all kinds of glands, okay, glands, sweat glands. So the patient also lose the chemical barrier. For the mucus, it's the same thing. So if there is a blockage of the salivary glands, tear ducts, so it will cause a huge risk for patient to get the infections. Okay. Even the first line of defense alone is not enough to protect the human. However, it is very important. If we lose this first line defense, so we will get infection for sure. Okay. Now let's work on this question. For each of the barriers, state whether it is a physical or chemical barrier. So I give you 5 seconds. So the hydrochloric acid is chemical, okay, it's chemical. Slouching of skin is physical. Lysozyme in the saliva and tears. It's chemical, okay. Ciliary escalator is physical, okay, physical. So second line of defense consists of the phagocytosis, inflammation, fever, and antimicrobial proteins. So this is general defense. It's not a specific. For example, the phagocytes can phagocyte all kinds of microorganisms, so they don't have the specific attack. Okay. So the phagocyte can be found everywhere. Okay, in many tissues. So if the microorganisms invade the tissues, actually, the phagocyte can migrate to there and kill the cells. So phagocyte can also kill the dead body cells, and also can eat the harmful materials. Once the phagocyte eat the microorganism, so they can digest the microorganism. So they can once the microorganism is digested, so the antigen can be cut. So phagocyte will have the antigen information. So those antigen pigment fragment is contains antigen information. So phagocyte can exchange this antigen fragment with the immune system to let the T cells, B cells know the antigen information of the microorganism. So the phagocyte would be the neutrophil, monocyte, macrophage. Neutrophil, so it's general purpose, okay. So neutrophil react early in the inflammatory response to bacteria. So if we have the infection, so when we go to clinic, so the nurse will test our blood. So if they found a high neutrophil count, so that's evidence for the infections. So when neutrophil dies, so they form the pus. Okay, pus. Monocyte is made from the bone marrow, and then so they travel in the bloodstream to reach to all the organs, and they can penetrate through the capillary to the tissues and move in the tissues. In tissues, so the monocyte will convert to the macrophage. Okay. So monocyte doesn't have the capacity of phagocytosis. However, macrophage does have. Okay. So if the monocytes get in certain tissues and live there during their lifespan, so this is called histiocytes. Histiocytes, for example, alveolar macrophage, Kupffer cells in liver, dendritic cells in skin, okay, and the macrophage in the spleen, lymph, bone marrow. For example, this is the alveolar macrophage in lung. So this is in liver. This is dendritic cells in skin. Phagocytosis. Phagocyte means eat. Okay, eat. Phagocytosis means process of eating cells. So once the phagocyte eat cells, so they can digest the microorganism and making the antigen information. So the events of phagocytosis would be the chemotaxis, ingestion, phagolysosome formation, destruction, and the excretion. So this is phagocytosis. Pathogen-associated molecular patterns. So once so this actually these are the signal molecule found in the microbe. Okay, microbe. So once the phagocyte eat the microbe, so they can digest the microbe and get those single molecule. Those single molecule can be used the phagocyte to exchange with other immune system for the information exchange. So this can be the those actually those pattern can be recognized the phagocyte. Okay, once the phagocyte recognize this molecule, so they know these are the microbes they have to kill. Okay. For example, those pattern could be the peptidoglycan, okay, or the lipopolysaccharide, okay, because those molecules are specific molecules in the bacteria, okay, they are not in the human, okay, that's why once phagocyte recognize this molecule, so they know, so they are the microorganisms, they are the microorganisms, so they have to kill that. Also, the viral, the viral pumps such as double strand RNA, because in human we don't have double strand RNA, we only have the single strand RNA. Okay, so if the immune cells recognize the double strand RNA, so that's the molecule from bacteria. Pattern recognition receptors. Pattern recognition receptors. So it is found in the. So it is. So they are found in the phagocytes, dendritic cells, and lymphocytes. So they can recognize the PAMPs. Okay, PAMPs. So once they recognize the PAMPs, so they will let the immune cells to produce the phagocytosis. Inflammasomes. Inflammasomes are the so the pattern recognition receptors so the pattern receptors can recognize the PAMPs, okay, and then so once they recognize the PAMPs, so they have some kind of memory, okay, and then when they recognize those PAMPs again, okay, so they can release so they can release the signals and initiate the information. So the inflammatory response is a complex reaction. Okay, so inflammation can cause a cluster of symptoms such as rubor. Rubor means redness. Okay, and color. Okay, color means warm. Rubor means red. Tumor means swelling. Okay, dolor means pain and loss of function. So the inflammation can cause certain diseases. Okay, for example, cardiovascular diseases. Um, inflammation can be local or systemic. Mm, mm. So some scientists also believe that aging is the consequence of the chronic inflammation, because the inflammation can damage the cells. Okay, if those damage accumulate years for years. Okay, so eventually those cells will lose their cellular function, so the cell will become aged. Okay. So the so the trauma can cause inflammation. Okay, tissue damage, necrosis can also cause inflammation. Also the immune reactions. So the inflammation function could be actually inflammation has a beneficial effect for human. For example, they can attract immune components to the site of injury. Um, so it can also repair the tissue damage. Okay, they can also localize the harmful substance. They can also destroy the microbe. So the inflammatory response is actually is a defensive reaction. So can let the body to restore the damage. Also, however, they also can cause the damage. Okay, can cause the disease. For example, they can cause the cardiovascular diseases. So we can divide the information to different stages based on the duration. So for example, we can divide it to acute. Okay, for a few minutes, a few hours, a few days. So that could be the acute. Or so if the information has there for weeks, months, so that could be chronic. Okay. For example, here we can see this diagram. So if a patient get an injury from this near, okay, the near can damages the vessels, okay, uh, cause the rupture of the skin. Um, so also got induce the invasion of the microorganism, and then so the um, so in the beginning, we have the bleeding, and then so the blood is coagulated. So the immune cells will be attracted to this area. Um, Also, since the blood is coagulated, so the coagulation can limit the spread of the bacteria. Well, the immune cells can be attracted to this area to kill all the bacteria, and then so the epithelials of the vessels can proliferate and differentiate to repair the small vessels. Also, the skin epithelial cells can proliferate to repair the skin, and then so the inflammation would be gone. So we have different step of the information. Well, so first is diapedesis. So diapedesis, that means, for example, the migration of Weber cells to the tissue. And second is chemotaxis. Chemotaxis means attract the immune cells to this area. Okay. So the inflammation can also cause edema. Okay, and edema actually is the fluid leak from the vessels. So the edema actually can dilute the toxins. Okay, toxins. Also, the fibrins can cause local coagulation to limit the spreading of microbes. Neutrophil can be attracted to this area and kill the kill the bacteria. So if neutrophil can be die if there is too many bacteria. Okay, so that is can form the pus. Okay, pus are the dead cells and the bacteria. Pyogenic, that means so the bacteria that can stimulate the formation of pus. Okay, fever. So inflammation cause fever. Actually, fever means increasing of body temperature. So this is universal symptoms of infections. So however, certain other causes of the inflammation can also induce fever, such as allergy, cancers, or other illness. Okay. So if the patient have fever, however, we don't find the causes for the fever. So the fever will be diagnosed as FUO. So that's fever of unknown. Okay, it's FUO. It's not a UFO. Okay, UFO is not. It's not for fever. Body temperature. Actually, the normal temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. So it's maintained by the hypothalamus. Okay. So low grade fever, that means 37.7 to 38.3. High grade is 40 to 41. So purgens, that means the substance can induce fever. So we have the exogenous purgen, such as all the chemicals induced by the infectious agents such as virus, bacteria, and the fungi. Okay, so those would be the exogenic purgen. Endogenous purgen, so that's the cytokines released from our immune cells, such as monocells, neutrophils. That could be the interleukin 1, okay, and TNF alpha. So the fever can be benefit, okay, because once our body temperature increase, because the microorganisms have their own optimal temperature. So if maybe their optimal temperature is the same as our normal temperature, is 37 degrees Celsius. However, once we get the infection, we increase our body temperature. So that means those microorganisms live in a high temperature area environment. So high temperature may inhibit their metabolism, can kill them, right? Also, fever uh, can block the nutrition that's used by the bacteria, such as the iron. Okay. Also, the fever can induce the metabolism and attract the immune organs to release the immune cells. Can also increase the hematopoiesis to make more immune cells, can increase the efficiency of the phagocytosis. However, the fever can be harmful, okay, so they can cause the damage to our nervous system. So they can also cause heart rate, because high temperature means so the blood is circulated faster, so the heart, our heart have to work more to to pump the blood, so that causes tachycardia. Okay, tachycardia. Tachypnea, that means increased respiratory rate. Also, fever can cause damage to nervous system, can induce seizures. Okay. So if the tachycardia exists long term, so it can cause cardiovascular diseases. It can hurt the heart. Okay, the heart work too hard for long term. It causes heart damage. Okay. So the immune cells also can secrete certain compounds. Those are the antimicrobial products such as interferon. Okay, interferon. So interferon is interferons are classified as alpha and beta. Okay. So they are produced by the lymphocytes, fibroblast, and the macrophage. Interferon gamma are produced by the T cells. Interferon can bind to the cell surface and induce the genetic expression. So the interference can inhibit the expression of cancer gene, can inhibit cancer, can stimulate phagocyte. Okay. Can regulate macrophage and TCS, BCS. Interferon can binding virus microbes to receptors. So if actually the interferons are produced once the virus and microbe invade our cells. Okay. And then, so once interferons are produced, so they can be secreted to the extracellular space and induce the adjacent cells to initiate a reaction against the virus and the microorganisms. For example, degrade the virus RNA and prevent the translation of virus proteins. Here is the diagram. We can see once the virus invades the cells, so the virus can induce the interferon production. So the interferon can be released to the interstitium, and then interferon will bind to the adjacent cells. The adjacent cells can produce certain antiviral proteins to digest the viral RNA and inhibit the virus protein translation. Complement are the small proteins or polypeptides. So they actually they are the very important immune substance in our body. So complements consist of over 30 blood proteins. Okay. So they can destroy the bacteria or virus, even the parasites. So they can induce cascade reaction. That's cascade means one substance can induce another substance reaction. For example, we have the C3. Okay, C3 can induce this cascade. So C3 can become to C3b, C3a. So the C3b can become to the can cause C5 to C5a, C5b. So C5b can form complex with C6, C7, and C8. So the cluster of C5 to C8 is called a membrane attack complex. Okay, MAC. So MAC can be inserted to the bacteria to cause the bacteria to be lysed to kill the bacteria. So we have the classic and the alternative complement pathway. Classic Classic is initiated by the binding to the antibodies that are already bound to microbe. Okay. Alternative does not require antibody. Okay. They can be induced by the foreign stimulus antigen. So that's why alternative is a quicker response because they don't need the antibody. So this is the diagram of the alternative pathway. Antimicrobial production. So those are the short proteins of 12 to 50 amino acids. For example, the defacing. Okay, defacing. So they can be inserted to the bacterial membrane and cause the bacterial lysis. Okay. So they have also the other functions on the immunity. For example, so they can be inserted to the bacterial membrane and cause the membrane leaking, so the bacteria is died. Okay. So now let's work on this question. Put the steps of phagocytosis in correct order. I gave you 5 seconds. So we can see here, so the 6 should be the first, right? And then, so the 5 should be the last. So the correct answer is D, okay? So this is appendix, so you can use this for your study. So this is end.